Hi guys, happy fabulous weather day, fabulous weather week. It's absolutely gorgeous outside. I will not take up too much of your time because I know you should be outside and doing something lovely in the beautiful sunshine. So I will just be quick. I'm going to do the usual, your guys' questions and answers, some of them that have come in, as well as happy news and real estate updates, okay? Feel free to ask anything that you like, and I will try and answer it or answer it next week or message you privately if I don't have time today. And I'm going to dive right in. Again, hope you guys are well, enjoying the beautiful weather. The first question is from Jake, and Jake is in Barrie. Jake said, my brother and I went to an open house and said we could offer full asking with 5 days inspection. The agent basically laughed at us. Why do people list for a certain price if they would actually never take it? Thank you, Jake, for asking. I'm sorry that happened to you. So, for example, I'll go over it a lot more in a little bit, but bidding wars have come back. They're not 100%, but they have come back a little bit depending on the price point. So say, for example, somebody wants $700,000, they're listing at $649 or $599, etc., as opposed to listing at $719 and so forth. And the reason that is let's just say, somebody offers them $700 and the other person only offers them $680. Why wouldn't they rather have the $700, right? So it's not like an auction where people can hear what people are offering. So they often get more that way. And if they don't like an offer that came in, they don't have to take it. Whatever the highest is, they don't have to take it. And they also like bidding wars because they tend to come in firm. So there's no finance, no inspection, usually no sale of a home and so forth, and bigger deposits, etc. And they often do what the seller wants for a closing date. So that's why sometimes people will list lower and say, hey, let's get a whole bunch of people through so we can have, better options for us. So I apologize that happened to you. I'm pretty sure I read the question right and understood, but hopefully that makes sense for you. And feel free to ask if you have any other questions. Sorry, I'm just at the office here, so I don't have all my stuff here, but gonna make it work. So if you guys, again, have questions, I'm just going to run through some happy random news. This one wasn't really like happy. It wasn't, some miracle or whatever, but it's a couple that's saving $27,500 a year. So they were from Ontario and they were not getting ahead. Their rent was $2,500 a month, and they packed up and moved to North Carolina. And they bought a houseboat for $23,000, and they actually put it in the lake that is year round. Obviously here we can't do that. It would be too cold and so forth. But there, and they can stay year round. It's only $2,500 for them to stay in the lake, and like I said, $23,000 they bought the boat. So they anchored it, and they face the sunset, and they have a 225 square foot houseboat, and they just go paddleboarding all day and stuff. They said at first it was for their financial health, but now it's for their mental health. So I like that. That was cute. Next question comes from Jessica, and Jessica's in Bradford. Jessica said, I have 3 kids at home, so currently we use our basement for a rec room, but could really use the extra cash. Do you think it makes sense to make an apartment, and how much do you think it would cost? Thank you, Jessica, for asking. I definitely do think it makes sense unless you're in a really, pristine subdivision. When you're in a subdivision like that, they tend to like more of like just a wet bar in the basement or something like that. They don't want to say, oh, I need extra money for an apartment and so forth. So it depends kind of on the neighborhood. But in a typical neighborhood, absolutely. Lots of people like, oh, we're going to put our parents down there, or my sister's going to move in, or my brother when he got a divorce or something like that. Very common. And also people can just rent it for extra cash just because the interest rates are higher than they have been in the past and so forth. So it's just extra income. So for a price of that for you, I don't know, because I don't know if you just need the kitchen. So it sounds like you already have a rec room down there. I don't know if you have a bathroom down there already or a bedroom, etc. I also don't know if you have a separate entrance. So if you already have a walkout, that's great. If you have a separate entrance, like a walk up, that's fine. If you need to add that, last I knew it was about $15,000, but obviously COVID prices have, skyrocketed some things. Also, if, for example, your stairs are on the side, so say at the very outside of the house and not in the middle of your home, you could always just pop a door out the side. So you might have like 3 or 4 stairs down to a landing. Then there's an outside wall. You could pop a door out there and then a staircase down. So you could do that. So it's obviously different pricing depending on what you have to do. Obviously walkout is the most expensive, but it depends on your grading. And then if you have a walk up, again, would be second. And then that would be cheapest if you just have to pop a door through. Hi, Scotty. Hope you are as well. I saw the picture with Bodie. I forget. Bodie. Looks like he's having lots of fun. Thank you for popping in. The next thing is, before I get into real estate, there was a woman in Oklahoma, and obviously we all remember lockdowns, etc. So she said, I'm going to walk 5 kilometers a day for 100 days. And it started out as walking, then she started to walk, run, and then just run. And now it's been well over 1,000 days. She's never missed a day. And she's running it all and so forth. And obviously that's great in general. But I did not mention to you that she was 80 when she started. So she says she has lots of grandkids and running after the kids. This keeps her active and so forth. And she doesn't see herself as a hero, but if people, get motivated by her story, then she likes that as well. So I like that. There's one more question and then we'll get into real estate. So there was, there's one more. A question from Chrissy, and Chrissy's in Schaumburg. Chrissy said, I need to basically gut my whole home. What is in right now? That's a very general question, Chrissy, but I'll try and answer best I can. So moody is in, like, for example, it's currently fake concrete behind me, but the rest of it is snowbound, which is a white color. So now just plain whites aren't in anymore. Moody, so like deep greens and deep like purples and anything deep colors, navies, blacks. I've seen burgundies, etc. Anything deep, like deeper tones is in, and lots of archways, going into rooms, as well as like going into showers, even above your vanity, etc. Archways, and even like rounded staircases going upstairs. So archways are in and rounded, and lots of moody dark colors, no more white. Okay. Hopefully that helps you with your whole gut and reno. And sorry, I did have one thing before real estate. There was a young pilot, and she only had like 57 hours of flying, and she'd only been up in the air 3 times by herself. And she took off from Michigan Airport and somehow lost her front tire to her plane, her little 1-seater plane. And so she called the, not patrol office, you know what I mean? Where they call everybody in and stuff. What is it called? I forget what it's called. Anyways, they didn't know what to do, but luckily they patched her through to another pilot, and he said, you have the same name as my daughter. I taught her how to fly. I will get you to land this safely and blah, blah. And he did. So I thought that was obviously lovely, and I was just reading the story, and what he said to her was really calming. So it was nice. I like happy stories. So we're going to jump into real estate. So I'm going to do a bunch of things in real estate. So I'll say things locally, things farther away, and so forth. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will just jump around. So I'll get a variety of numbers to you. So in Toronto, when we look at March versus February's pricing, it actually has gone up. And this is the first time it has gone up in a long time, since May of 2022 to be exact. So in February, the average price was $1,096,000 and change. And now it's $1,108,000 and change. So that is great. But if you look at it from March of last year, 2022, it is down. So it's down 15% from that, which was 1.298666 to be exact. Hello, Stacy. How are you? I can't see who else is here, but anyways, thank you guys for popping on. So yeah, it's down 15% from last year, but February to March of this year, and this is Toronto, it did go up. So that was great. But I'll go over tons of numbers for you guys. So it has been quite sluggish in real estate. As there was 8 times that the interest rates went up, and then the last 2 they didn't. So 7 were last year, 1 was this year, and then the last 2, 1 being today, it has not gone up. It has not gone down, but it's not gone up either, which is great, especially after 8. So after that, we found basically the last one, when it didn't go up, a lot of bidding wars started to come back. So we're not finding bidding wars at like 3 million, 2 million, etc. We are finding them, under 800,000, 599, 499, 399, 675, etc. Those ones are getting bidding wars. So just as an FYI, that's coming back. So basically the buyers are coming back full force, and they're like, they're hearing all these economists saying that's basically hit the lowest of low and the bottom, and they're afraid, hey, what if the house right now is 700,000 and in 8 months it's going to be 750? So they're trying to buy now before it goes up. So tons of people are coming in, and the sellers aren't coming in as fast. So there's way more buyers than there are sellers. So that's why the bidding wars are happening again in the lower prices, more so than the higher prices. Okay. And again, feel free to ask me any questions if you have. So basically, buyers' confidence has skyrocketed because of the last 2 Bank of Canada announcements of nothing. And so that is obviously bringing them back and bringing back the bidding wars, and more people can afford it because they're afraid, like, what if we buy and our mortgage is 4,000 and then in 3 months it's 6,200, etc. But when they keep hearing, hey, for the next year it's going to stay around 4.5% and then it's going to come down to 3%, then they say, okay, well, we can handle that. If we can handle the current mortgage rate, then we can handle it if it's 3%. So they're liking that. So everybody's trying to get back in. They also like that they're not against the investors. So I don't know if you recall or you know, but starting January 1st of 2023, people from foreign countries aren't allowed to buy here anymore for 2 years. So there are like some ins and outs of it that, oh, if they're going to school here, they can and so forth, but just in general, they can't. So, people are saying, hey, okay, now we think it's the bottom of the bottom and the interest rates haven't gone up the past 2 times so we can buy, and there's no foreign investors because they tend to have the endless or the deep pockets, so they like that they're not against them. So that's another reason they've come back. And I don't know, I feel like the warm weather. Everybody stops hibernating in the warm weather. We did, have 12 offers, Scotty. That was on Wessinger, and we had 2 the other day with multiple offers as well. And we're holding 2 on Sunday and 1 on Monday. I hope all is well in your world and lots of busy rocking offers. So in Toronto, detached homes in March were averaging 1.468, and that is down 13.5% from last year. Even though 1.468 sounds like a lot of money, it's not for Toronto. Semi-detached homes in Toronto are now 1,087,000 and change. I just don't like the change. It's easier to remember, and it's down 17% from March of last year. Townhomes are now 935 and change in Toronto, which is down 14% from March of last year, and condos are also down. They're down 13% to 703. So that's Toronto. I will do locally around here, but I like to just do general. Sometimes I do all of Canada. Sometimes I do Toronto. Sometimes I do Hamilton. I always do Simcoe, but I like to add some other areas as well. So all sizes, all detached condos, etc. in Toronto, they're averaging 1,118,500, and that was obviously March of 2023, and that is down 16.2% from last year the same time. And there were 6,896 sales, which a lot of people think that's a ton of homes to sell in 1 month, and for sure it is. That was up from 4,765 in February in Toronto. However, it is down from the 10,862 that sold March of 2022. So that is down 37%. And I had mentioned that although the buyers are coming back full-fledged, the sellers aren't coming back as fast. They're like, hey, I still have to tidy the yard. Oh, I still have to paint this. I still have to finish the basement. I still have to do the extra trim. I still have to fix that hole in the wall for my teenager or whatever. So the sellers aren't coming back as fast again. Why we're having more bidding wars? Because there's not enough inventory. On a side note, home sales, so the number of homes selling, not the home prices, are down 42.5% in Vancouver. So it's down even more in Vancouver than it is in Toronto. There is a new report out, though, from RBC, so Royal Bank of Canada, and it has a bunch of economists and so forth, analysts that, put all their input and so forth into it. And they said that the bottom of the market is spring 2023, which is obviously where we are, which is why so many people are trying to get into it right now because they want to get in before it goes up again. So what was I saying before? Let's see. Oh yeah, I said at the beginning about the rate hold, right? So the first one of this year, so February 25th, for example, it went up. But then the last 2 did not go up. And what was I don't know why I'm sidetracking here. Oh yeah, it is guessed that they're going to keep it until 2024. So they think that the 4.5 will stay till 2024, and then they think it'll come down to 3%. And then they think it'll stay that way till 2025, and then they haven't said what will happen. Sorry for my brain fart there before. I'm trying to read my messy writing, but that is that. And the study is also saying that the housing correction is not done yet. So they're saying, hey, yeah, we're saying this is the bottom, but the housing correction is not done yet because lots of people's mortgages haven't renewed yet. So, things will still be happening. So they haven't said when the official, what will happen and so forth, depending obviously if people leave the country or if they stay and they buy again and so forth. But we are having tons of people still leave the country. I'd say the last 10 listing presentations that I've done, 7 are leaving the country. So it teeters. Sometimes it's 8, 9, sometimes it's 6, but I've had, I'd say 7 in the past week are leaving out of the 10. Something that is not supposed to heat up, because basically the market has heated up in the past about 3 weeks, is recreational properties. So let's just think farther north. People moved during the pandemic. They said, hey, I can work from home, etc. But now they've experienced a winter. Now they've experienced the lack of cell phone range up there. Now they've experienced their friends not coming to visit them, etc. So recreational rural properties are supposed to go down about 4.5% this year, okay? So that is that. So now we'll do more locally. So more locally, there was 395 units that sold in March, and that was in Simcoe County. And that was down 26.4% from March of last year. So it's down also from the 5-year average, 23.7% and 20.7% from the 10-year, but there are some things that are up, which I will tell you guys all of that as well. So there were 841 homes that have sold this year to date. So from January 1st to the end of March, 841 homes. So that is down as well. It's about 34.7% less than 2022. How many homes were sold? And that's all of Simcoe, by the way. So if we did just Barrie, there was 194 homes that sold, and that's down 28.1% from last year, the same time. And then the average price of homes sold in March 2022 was $842,335. So that is down 19% from last year. I said it was 2022, but it's 2023. I'm mixing up what year it is. So 842,335, and that is down 19% from March of last year. And our year-to-date average price, so again from January 1st to the end of March, because we don't have April statistics yet, are $838,470. That is also down, and that's down 20.1%. So that's again all of Simcoe. So if we do just Barrie, it's 728,387. I guess I don't like all the extra numbers. Let's just say 728, which is down 22.8%. And condos are also down. They're down 19.4%. So condos are down to 518,164 when we look in Barrie, and that's 20% sales less than last year. And detached homes, they're down 21.4%. They're averaging 813 and change. And the units sold are down 32.8%. That's that. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off today. It's super busy out there in the real estate world. In Simcoe County, days on market in 2022, they were 9. And to be honest, that was because people were holding offers. And now they're 30, but the offers holding are coming back. And back then, homes were selling on average for 115.3% of asking, so way above asking. And now they're averaging 97.9% of their asking price. And that was, again, all of Simcoe. In Barrie, in 2022, in March, they were averaging 7 days on market. And in 2023, they're averaging 24. And last year, they were averaging almost 120% of asking, 119.7 to be exact. And now they're averaging 99.3. In Barrie, townhomes, they're down 16.9%, averaging 654,195 now, and semi-detached homes are down 24.8%, averaging 618,917. So Collingwood had a big decline. I don't know why I'm smiling at that, but I don't know. They had a big decline. They went down 31.8%, which is a lot from 2022. So they're now down to 895,954. And townhomes also in Collingwood took a bit of a beating. They're down 35.1% to 556,667 now. And condos are also down in Collingwood. They're down 26% to 493 and change. ESSA was down 22.5% for their detached homes, now 834 and change. Their townhomes were down 17.5%. If anybody wants this like written out, I can send it all to you because I know it's a lot to take in. Townhomes in ESSA are down to averaging 646 and change. And Innisfil, their detached are down 24.9% to 892. And towns are down 15.5% in Innisfil, down to 700 and change. Condos are down 35.2% in Innisfil to 614 and change. And I'll do one more of that. Aurelia detached are down 17.9% to 696. And townhomes are down 19.1% to 575. Condos are down 24.6 to 532. Again, I know it's tons of numbers, so I apologize. But if you want it in a graph form or anything like that, feel free to reach out. So average days on market in Agila, Toronto are now 43, and they're averaging 878. And then in Bradford, they're about 24 days on market, averaging 1,083,000. Clearview's 31 days on market, averaging 1,042,000. Again, lots of numbers, sorry. New Tecumseth is averaging 26 days on market, and they're about 788 to get into there. Oro is 28 days on market before they sell, averaging about 1,068,000. Penetanguishene, 18 days on market, about 828,000. I was looking at the wrong line. Ramera is 34 days on market, 699. And Severn, 37 days on market, 745. And Tay Township, 29 days on market, averaging 735 and change. And Tiny Township, 60 days on market, 953. Just as a reminder, we do have a 1% listing commission, and also we guarantee to sell our clients' homes as well as the home that they buy. So if, for example, they buy a home and they don't like it for a year, we will buy it back or sell it for free. Or if the home goes down in value. So obviously during COVID and so forth, everybody was worried what happens if our house goes down or the interest rates or whatever. So if people had bought their home through us and it went down, then we would sell it for free. So anyway, something just handy to keep in your back pocket. So not everything is down. I know I said down, 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 but not everything is down. Like I mentioned, the interest rates didn't go up again today for the second time in a row. So they're staying at 4.5, which is great. And eventually they are supposed to go down to 3. But things that went up were things versus February of 2023 compared to March of 2023. So comparing those, prices have gone up. So that is really good. So in March, detached homes in Barrie went up 6% on average to 885,094. They also went up in Midland, 16.3% for detached to 694. We'll do the extra numbers, 694, 384. Let's just say 694. Aurelia detached also went up 11.1% from February to March to 696. Wasaga Beach didn't go up as much, but it's better than going down. They went up 0.6 and they went up to 835. And Wasaga Townhomes went up 24.4% to 600 and change. And my partners that would be very nice if you could, Stacy, to list. That would be great. Any questions, feel free to reach out. Next question comes from Miranda, and Miranda is in Aurora. So Miranda said, I bought during COVID and realized I have lost some money. So instead of selling, I would rather rent it out and buy again back in the city. Is there any downfalls with this you can see? Thank you, Miranda, for asking. I don't know, obviously, if on paper you can afford both of them. But if, for example, it is a legal unit, they will let you use both of the rents. So if you rent it upstairs for $3,000 and downstairs for $1,800, etc., they will usually let you use that, to show as your income and so forth. So if you can afford to, keep it, awesome. The only other downfall, obviously, is if your tenants don't pay and you have to take them to Residential Tenancy Act and so forth, and then waiting for court and all that kind of stuff, or damages and so forth. You're not allowed to, legally say, hey, I want 12 months not bank draft checks, or you're not allowed to legally say no pets, but lots of people do. You're also not supposed to ask for a security deposit, but a lot of people do. You're also not supposed to ask for a key deposit, but a lot of people do. So just as an FYI. And obviously, let's just say you locked in at a certain rate, you might need a certain amount to make it make sense. And that might not equate in the rental world. Like maybe you need $6,000 to break even, and maybe rents are only $4,500. I'm not sure, so you'd have to look into that. But hopefully that answers it for you. So Rand, I'm getting back into questions and happy things. So obviously people, turn in dogs and cats and so forth to shelters. But there was actually somebody that turned in a goat and a dog. So the goat was named Cinnamon and the dog was named Felix. And the people at the rescue separated them because they don't normally take in barn animals, but they both kept crying and squealing. So they put them back together. The fellow that had them, I guess, was hospitalized, and a neighbor brought them in. So anyways, they ended up in the shelter. They have since been adopted, so that was nice, and they were adopted together. So I just liked that it was happy and they got together. Next question comes from Katie, and Katie is in Barrie. Katie said, my mom passed away and my dad said he's not giving the kids the house. Can he do that? I'm sorry to hear about your mom passing, Katie. So it actually depends. There's different things. So when your mom and your dad bought the home, there's different ways to be set up on the mortgage. So one of the ways is if one of the people passes away, it automatically goes to the other person. So if that was the case and your dad didn't want to give you the home or what have you, he wants to give it to his best friend or his church or whatever, then there's nothing you can do. I mean, you could contest how they signed up and did the will and all that kind of stuff. But if when they bought the home, they agreed to that, then it's going to be hard. Or the other way is if she passes away, it automatically goes to people in her will. So if people in her will are you, your brother, whoever, then your dad just can't do that. Obviously, half has to be signed on whoever's on the will. But if her will says it goes to him, or like I said, they signed it that way when they first bought it. So it just depends. So you have to figure that out. Possibly maybe a lawyer could help you look into that, because I doubt your dad's going to tell you if he doesn't want to give you the house. Again, I apologize for your loss, and hopefully that helps you. What is next? Warmer weather. Yes, we have warmer weather. It's beautiful, but it was not too long ago. It was just ski season. There was where was it? In Austria. There was a video that went out and a fellow was taping, and basically a big avalanche came and knocked 10 people over, and they basically thought everybody would not be alive anymore. Only 4 were injured, and they're all still going to be okay. So I just like when people are okay and people are happy and alive, obviously, and not being trampled in avalanches. So next question comes from Lindsay, and Lindsay is an Oro. Lindsay said, I hear about bidding wars again, which is great for me selling, but in buying, what if I overpay because of a bidding war? That is true, Lindsay, and thank you for asking. So I would have your agent send you comparables. So let's just say, for example, you like 123 Main Street, and 123 Main Street's holding offers till Monday. Have your agent send you all of the actives and solds around in the neighborhood that have to do with that home. Obviously, if you're looking at a townhome, you don't need to look at detached homes or what have you. And then see all the prices so you can see. So you can see, okay, they're mostly selling around $750 or whatever the price is. And then say whatever the highest is you're comfortable. So if $750 is the highest you're comfortable, then that's fine, pay $750. But if, you say, oh, if somebody else buys it for $755 and you're like, oh, well, I would have paid $755, then obviously that wasn't the highest you were comfortable with, right? So whatever the highest is you're comfortable with, that's what I suggest to offer. Just make sure, obviously, financing and so forth is all lines up, because let's just say you're comfortable paying $850, but the comparables only show it's worth $7. What if the bank does an appraisal and they only value it at $7, and you have to come with that extra $150 plus your down payment? Are you going to have that amount of money? So just make sure you're doing all your math and getting sorted of what the home value is and that kind of thing. So thank you for asking, and hopefully that makes sense. I know I try and speed through the answers pretty quickly. One more thing, there were 51-year-old twins, and their dad had passed away from a heart attack and 20 years ago. And then they had different jobs at the time. The one twin became a paramedic, and the other twin, the female twin, became like a 911 operator. And she decided, hey, I want to shadow the paramedics this week because I'm possibly thinking of being a paramedic. She ended up being with her brother. They ended up going on a call for cardiac arrest for a 61-year-old, which was about the age of her dad at the time, or their dad when he passed. So the man's heart had stopped for 5 minutes already. I don't know medical things that wise. Sounds like somebody's not coming back to me, but they resuscitated him and got him alive and what have you. So it was a very emotional moment, since their dad had gone through the same thing, and they wondered if he had come back, what their lives would be like and different and so forth. So they just they're helping as many people as they can now, because they took their dad's experience and then wanted to help others. So I like that. And I think, did I have one more question? I didn't have one more question. So I hope you guys have the best week. I hope you know that you deserve the world and you go after it. Don't stop yourself, and have the best evening and the best possible time in the world.